Hi, kindergarten friends. Mrs. Wallstrand here. Today we are going to be learning about water for our science lesson this week. Some of the questions that we're going to be asking ourselves today is why is water important? We're also going to be asking about how water is used, and also, does everyone have enough water? And finally, we're going to talk about conservation and what that word means and how can we conserve water. First question is, who needs water? Can you think of any guesses? You guessed it. All living things need water, and we know that from our living and non-living thing lesson last week. We know that people need water, animals need water, and plants need water to survive. Let's talk about plants. If we look at the picture of this house plant, it's looking droopy, and some people might also think, man, it looks like that plant is dead. But it's not, it's alive. What do you think is wrong with this droopy plant? You guessed it. It needed water. And here's a picture of the same plant after it was watered. And you can tell that it perked right up. It doesn't look droopy anymore. It just needed to be watered. Now, this boy also kind of looks droopy. Imagine that he was maybe running around and now he stopped to catch his breath. What do you think he needs? You guessed it, he needs water. Why do we need water? Water helps our knees and elbows to bend. It also keeps our body at the right temperature. It also keeps our body hydrated. And most of our body is actually made up of water. But even though we have so much water in our bodies, we lose water all day long. Can you guess how? Well, when we are active and running around and working really hard, we can lose water by sweating. We can also lose water through our tears when we cry. We can lose some water when we cough or sneeze, but we lose water when we go to the restroom. And our bodies always tell us when we need water. It tells us, I need water. And that feeling you get when you're thirsty is your body's way of telling you that you need more water.
Water, 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 water.
There's a fun little game on Sesame Street called the Water Song.
Water everywhere. Water in the pool. Keeping us cool. Up in the clouds and down it goes. It's pumped to our homes where the water flows. Water cleans you up. Sitting in the tub. Water cleans the floor when you scrub, scrub, scrub. Home to the fish. Splash and splish. Puts fire out. Helps seeds sprout. Sailing on the water, cruising on a boat. Let the water move you as you float, float, float. Water helps the plants and animals grow. And when the water gets cold, we get ice and snow. With no water, we'd be so thirsty and hot. So let's be thankful for the water we've got. Water is a gift, so don't waste it. Turn it off when you're done. We'll have enough for everyone. So don't waste it. Turn it off when you're done. We'll have enough for everyone.
The next thing we're going to talk about is how do we use water? Can you think of any ways? Here are a number of ways that I was thinking of ways that we use water as humans. We use water in the kitchen a lot. We use them to wash dishes, to wash vegetables and other kinds of foods. We also boil water to help with cooking. And of course, we use water to wash our hands. We drink water. We use water to bathe in the shower or in the bathtub. We also use it to brush our teeth. We use it outside to water our grass, to make our grass grow. And finally, we use water for recreation, like going swimming. Can you think of any other ways? Now, humans are not the only things that need water or use water, but all of these different animals use water as well. Some animals, like fish, use water as their habitat. Others use it as part of their habitat, like ducks. Lots of animals use water. What is pollution? Have you ever heard of that word before? What do you think it means? What is pollution? The definition for pollution is something that's introduced into the environment that is dirty or unclean, or it's harmful to nature. Here are some pictures of pollution. This top right picture shows land pollution. Another word that we've used before is littering. So as you can see in that picture, there's plastic bags and trash that people have just discarded or thrown at the side of the road. On the top, you'll see this picture of polluted water. There's so much water pollution in our oceans and lakes and rivers. In this picture, you can see a lot of garbage in the water. On the bottom picture over here, you can see somebody fertilizing the grass. And if that fertilizer leaks into this thing called a storm sewer, it can pollute our water. And this picture over here shows air pollution. You can see the smoke coming out of the stacks that's polluting the air and making it dirty. Other things that pollute our air are cars, trucks, or anything that has exhaust coming out of it. So here's a little video about Freddy Fish.
Hi there, I'm Freddy. Welcome to my home. Sorry about all the mess. It may be raining up there, but down here, I'm dodging litter. Have you ever seen litter in the creek, river, or lake and wondered how it got there? I used to, and then I discovered that it gets carried here with the stormwater. What is stormwater, you ask? Stormwater is simply rainwater after it hits the ground. Easy enough? Okay, who knows what this is? That's a storm drain. What about this? Yep, another storm drain. You see, a storm drain's job is to keep the streets from flooding when it rains. But where does all that water go? Storm drains carry the water away from the streets and parking lots into the nearest creek, river, or lake, which is where I live. Now, these drains are different from the drains inside your home that carry wastewater from your sink, shower, and toilet. Those drains connect to pipes that go into the sewer system and to a huge cleaning facility where the water is cleaned and treated before it's released into the stream. But storm drains send water straight into the creek, river, or lake. That water doesn't get cleaned. These two drains are not the same. Only rain should go down the storm drain. Say that with me. Only rain down the storm drain. 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 And that is one reason why it is so important not to litter. You see, when it rains, all the stormwater that runs off of rooftops, yards, parking lots, and roads picks up litter, dirt, oil from leaky cars, and other bad stuff that is laying on the ground. Then where does all that bad stuff go? The stormwater carries it right into the storm drain and right into my home, making it difficult for me and my friends to live. I don't want to swim in that, and I bet you wouldn't either. Yuck! But often, people litter or pollute our waters without even knowing it. Did you know that leaving grass clippings in the street after mowing the lawn can cause pollutants to go down the storm drain and into a stream? Leaving your pet's waste on the ground, or even just washing your bike or your parents' car are other ways that cause pollutants to end up in our waters. It is up to everyone to do their part to help keep our waters clean. So, what can you do? Should you put your garbage in the trash can or recycle bin?
Yeah!
Should you pick up after your dog?
Yeah!
Should leaves and grass clippings get picked up and not left in the street? Help make sure only rain goes down the storm drain. Don't litter, and don't put leaves and grass clippings in the street or down the drain. Do pick up after your dog, and definitely tell your parents what you just learned. Say it with me. Only rain down the storm drain. 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 What you just learned. Say it with me. Only rain down the storm drain. 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 Only rain down the storm.
Okay, hopefully you enjoyed that video. Also, keep your eye out for another video that we're going to call Freddy the Fish. And the kindergarten teachers and I are going to be doing an experiment to show how pollution affects ocean and lake life. The next question we're going to be talking about is how much water is there in the world? And secondly, does everyone have enough water? What do you think? Actually, there is a finite amount of water in the world, which means there's only the same amount. There's the same amount of water as there always has been. And we actually cannot make more water. We will always have the same amount of water. Keeping that in mind, what are these kids carrying? And why do you think so? Well, if you were thinking that these children are carrying water in those buckets on top of their heads, you would be correct. These children do not have access to water in their homes like you do. They can't just go to the sink and turn on the water. They actually have to travel every single day a pretty far distance to go gather water and then carry it all the way back to their home so they can use it. Could you imagine what that would be like? Think about all those ways we use water. One of the things you can do on your bingo board this week is read this fantastic book called The Water Princess. There is a link to a woman who reads it out loud to you. And the story is about this young girl who lives in Africa, and her family has to go and gather water every single day to use in their home. So check out that book. I think you're going to love it. And then another activity you can do on your bingo board is pretend that you live in a world or a part of the world where there's no running water in houses or schools or buildings. You can't just go to your sink, like I said before, and turn it on. And you would have to go and collect water from really far away. So one way you can pretend to do that to see how those children might feel is you can take 2-gallon milk jugs and fill it up with water and carry one in each hand. and try and walk all the way around the outside of your house. Or maybe you could go all the way down the block and back. Of course, take a grown up with you. But then talk with that grown up about, wow, that was really hard, or I thought that was easy. Talk about your feelings on it and maybe how those children might be feeling. And coming back to the question that we talked about earlier, that now that we know there's a finite amount of water, which means there's the same amount of water, we can't make any more water. And then also thinking about Freddie the fish, talking about pollution. If the water that we have keeps getting polluted and we can't make more water, we have to think about how we can conserve it or how we can save the water that we do have and keep it fresh so that it's safe for people to use. Some ways that we can help to conserve water, I just brought back this slide that showed all of the different ways that we use water. So thinking about how we can use less water or conserve water, maybe if you are washing dishes, you could make a tub of water in your sink and then wash the dishes with that water instead of running the faucet like you see in that picture. Same idea if you think about brushing your teeth. When you're brushing your teeth, if you don't let the water run the entire time you're brushing and not actually using the water, you could just shut it off while you brush your teeth and then turn it back on when you're ready to rinse out your toothbrush. I know that there are some rules in cities about how often you can water your grass with a sprinkler. Some cities will only let you do it every other day or certain days of the week. But if it rained outside, maybe not turning on your sprinklers because the water from the rain would water your grass. And I bet there's a lot of other ways that you could conserve water. Can you think of any other ways? Okay, let's think about what we learned today. We learned that all living things need water. We also learned that there's only a certain amount of water in our world and it needs to be protected and conserved. We can do that by not polluting it and using less water. We also learned that people, plants, and animals can affect the quantity and the quality of water in our world. Now, here's my question for you.